Hey friends, welcome to another episode of Quarantine Interviews, where we feature artists in isolation. As the quarantine first began, we were able to record a bunch of these interviews with many different artists, some of which we've already shared with you right here on YouTube if you're watching the video version of this, or maybe you're listening to the audio only version on one of our freestanding podcasts. But as areas of the country are starting to slowly open up, we'd like to share the remainder of these interviews with you. This episode was recorded a little over a month ago on April 29th, and it features the artist Keith Andrew Grimm from Dallastown, PA, not too far from us right here in York, Pennsylvania. In fact, we've worked with Keith many times before, and we just recently recorded a full studio-length album with him right here at NoteSpire Music Studios. So in this interview, we want to give you a little insight into the artist and what he's been doing since this time of isolation. Please welcome Mr. Keith Andrew Grimm.
All right. So, welcome everyone to another interview, video interview, as we call these. What do we call these? Artists insulation. Artists in isolation. And we're just having a good time with the technology that we have. What do we call COVID?
Quarantine interviews.
Quarantine interviews. There we go. See, yeah. And like we like to say, we are, let's do this together, Nate. We're spreading God's love.
God's love, not the virus.
Okay.
That's a great quote.
That's good.
I love that.
So we're talking this time, friends, with Mr. Keith Andrew Grimm, who's there at the bottom of the screen. Keith, welcome to
Hey, Keith.
From his rocking chair.
That's right, because I'm a retired teacher. I'm in my rocking chair.
Keith, don't get too used to that.
Oh no, just for the interview.
Okay, good. And who's that lovely looking thing behind you?
Oh, my deer?
Yes,
That's Caleb.
Caleb.
He is
Caleb.
a deer that my grandfather got in northern Pennsylvania in 1933. And
Wow.
it was when my grandfather died, it went to my cousin, and then my cousin gave it to my dad, and my dad gave him to me. So he's sort of my sidekick now. So.
Oh, cool. He's been dear to the family ever since the 30s. Okay.
Since 1933. I remember when he was hanging in my grandparents' house, growing up.
That's great. That's great. Well, thank you for putting him in the picture. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yes. So, Keith, you are a singer, songwriter, and all around great musician. You have you got a CD that you recorded here with us in our studio. We glad to get that out there for you and different things. So, what we want to do today is kind of, as we're doing with these interviews, is just kind of giving exposure to guys like you, artists like you, women too, of course. I'm sorry, I don't mean guys, but that maybe not able to get out there and do what you normally do. So
Right.
yeah. So I guess we'll start with tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and then we'll go from there.
Well, I'm a singer, songwriter, guitar player. I started out actually as an instrumentalist way back in the day. Then somebody suggested I started adding singing to my concerts. So I started adding singing. I went and got some voice lessons. And so my concerts now are sort of instrumental and singing, at the same time. So
Both, yeah.
And then, so that's kind of stuff I do. I'm sort of in the, what you call Christian contemporary, Christian folk, Christian Americana, Christian gospel genres. So those are the main genres I seem to cover. Basically, but the whole idea behind the music ministry is to spread the love of Christ.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to do. So
Yeah, and you do it well. So you do both original and cover songs.
I do both original and cover.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the cover songs I do are mostly like traditional hymn type things. I don't do too many contemporary covers.
Okay.
So the covers I do are mostly like public domain type things. And then my more contemporary stuff I do is my more original things that I do.
Yeah. Well, there's the cover songs and the tradition of the traditional hymns. Boy, there is and continue to be a need for that, and people want to hear that. So, and you do a very good job.
People seem to like that,
Yeah.
you go into church somewhere and sing in the garden, and people seem to like that, so.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Let's see, where are we going with that? So you go out, you're right now, obviously not right now, but you're out and about
Right.
singing at churches and
Right.
wherever God opens the door, right?
Yeah, it's mostly churches and Christian type coffee houses. And then in the Christmas season, I get up at Christmas Magic of Rocky Ridge Park here in York,
Mm-hmm.
York, Pennsylvania, for those of you who don't know where we are. But
Mm-hmm.
so I think I played up there about 7 times last year. So I tend to get a lot of Christmas gigs at community events. But most of them are churches, Christian coffee houses are Christian. What's the other thing? What am I
Right.
thinking of? The outdoor concerts, festivals. That's what I'm thinking of.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll get it. So
I hope this summer brings we're able to do more of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
yeah, I ended up getting 2 gigs this summer already,
Mm-hmm.
and one's in Glen Burnie, Maryland, at a coffee house they have at a church there, and then at a church over in Lancaster. I'll be doing a special music in the morning. So hopefully all this is over so the churches are open again. So
Yeah.
I can go do those.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure, Keith, just like all the other artists, you've had to kind of shift or pivot here a little bit because of the whole isolation thing.
Right.
How's that changed what you've been doing?
Well,
I noticed that you started to embrace the technology a little bit here and
yeah,
go
by
online.
necessity. Yeah.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I can tell where I got motivated to do that. There's a guy named Paul Secord, and Paul, if you're watching, hello. He lives down in Nashville, Tennessee, and he has this gospel road coach type thing that he does, and he posts videos, and he started challenging artists during this quarantine time to start putting more stuff online. So then that's where I thought, okay, I'm going to do the Facebook Live type things, and it took a little while how to figure out how to do it. So I'm starting to learn how to do that, and hopefully each time I do it, it gets better,
Yeah.
But yes, I'm starting to do that. And what I do when I go and do the Facebook Live concert, I approach it as if I'm going out somewhere to do a concert. So like I make a set list. I actually rehearse it before I come on. Even the things that are impromptu videos that I put on, they're rehearsed before I put them on. I just make it sound like they're impromptu, but now that's the secret's out.
Right.
Although the one I did the other night, I was really just going to do that as a test video. And then I just decided to keep it on, but it's been good. It seems to be getting good response from people, and it's a way to get my music out there to an audience that, that wouldn't have known about it otherwise. So maybe in some ways for music artists, this is a good way to broaden your audience in different areas of from where you live. So.
Yeah, we've been seeing that. That's kind of been the consensus that we've almost seen that God has used this as like a back door to reach people that we wouldn't have reached before because people weren't using this technology.
Right. Yeah.
And now we have to. So it's amazing to see the opportunities it's opening up for everybody.
Right. Yeah, I do go watch some other people's concerts and stuff that they put online. So that's pretty cool to watch and see what other people are doing. Yeah. And I actually got some ideas on how to do my concerts from watching what other people have done. So.
Oh, that's great.
So that's been great. It's great to see people that you wouldn't normally see out there. So.
That is true. So you think, Keith? Well, I'm going to ask you about just what are some of the what are some of those ideas? Because I think there's artists watching right now.
Okay.
That are saying, I'd like to do that, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I can. I'm not sure if I should. I'm not sure how to do it. Right. Any thoughts there? Yeah.
Well, the one thing that since artists are technically out of work right now, I was looking at one of Frances Dross videos. She lives over in Biglerville, Pennsylvania, and I was watching one of hers, and she actually had a place on her video where you could donate or give tips to her while she was playing. So I thought that looks like a good idea. She had a PayPal.me account. So I looked up how to make that, and then I started adding that to my videos. So that's one thing, another thing that I haven't used yet, but I do notice some people do set up sound systems and stuff to do that. I haven't done that yet, but so that way their voice is louder than the guitar.
Yeah.
So I've noticed things like that. I noticed that some people are putting out their more professional type videos, which is, I would like to get a better phone or a better camera to be able to do that, where it's clear looking and everything.
Right. Okay.
So those are just some of the things, watching them on what they're doing with their set lists and all that. Saying hi to the people that join them. Although for me, I have to turn my camera backwards, so I can't see the comments until after I'm done. But I try to respond to them. But I try to engage anybody that comments on there afterwards. And I notice that a lot of artists are doing that live.
Right.
When they do that, they'll say, they'll say like Nate is watching one of mine, or Paul. I say, hey Nate, thanks for joining me, or hey Paul, thanks for joining me.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to have a second source, like a laptop or something set up close to you where you can see that. Yeah.
Right. I don't have a laptop, and my home computer does not have a camera with it. Okay. So I'm stuck using my phone right now. But
yeah, I mean, you use your phone for the camera, but have a second source just so you can read the comments.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the way to do it.
Yeah, I did notice one guy the other day. He was doing a concert. First name's Colton. Can't think of his last name right now. I actually met him. He was on The Voice or American Idol or one of those.
Oh yeah, I know who you mean. Yep.
Yeah, Colton. I can't think of his last name right now. But I met him, and it's not Colton Dixon. It's a different Colton. Colton, I don't know. I have a CD over there. I have to look it up later.
Yeah.
But he was doing a thing where he had 3 devices set up, and he had a camera for TikTok, a camera for Facebook, and I think a camera for YouTube. Mm-hmm. So he had 3 cameras going at once while he was doing that, and I thought that's a good idea because I don't know how to sync all these things together. But he had that, so he was reaching a broader audience over the more social platforms. So.
Right. Yeah.
So that's an idea I want to implement sometime in the future.
Yes. We can talk privately about that, because I know I haven't done it, Keith, but I know there is a way to broadcast to those different sources at the same time.
Oh, okay.
With just one computer, with just one camera. So
okay.
I haven't tried it yet, but I know there's a way to do it. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's it. And Keith, do you think? I think we kind of goes without saying that doing this stuff online is a great thing right now. It's opening doors for us that we never would have had open for us. It's keeping, and I'll say it this way: it's keeping doors open that were open before, but that would normally now be closed to us if we didn't have this technology.
Right, that's true.
Yeah, so it's another other side of that coin, or additional side to it. But do you think, Keith, that you, for example, and artists in general, will keep doing this after the whole COVID thing is over? Do you think that we should keep using this technology? Do you think you will?
Well, first of all, yes to both questions. I think that artists should use this. Because, like, for example, I follow Shania Twain on Facebook, and she puts up little videos every now and then, her just singing like 1 or 2 songs. I would not have had access to had she just still been doing her show in Las Vegas.
Right.
I don't know if she would be doing that if she wasn't out doing her show in Las Vegas right now. Yeah. So it's kind of cool to see that. So I think artists should keep doing that afterwards, and because I think in a way it's going to reach a broader audience in the long run, and so yeah, I'm planning to still do it. I may not do it as often, although that now that I'm getting used to the technology of how to do it, I'm sort of enjoying it now. That before I get frustrated before I do what I was doing.
Yeah, and I think that once we learn how to do it, all of us, we can do it faster with less stress and less issues. So. Right. Yeah. And one suggestion that I know I've seen different people on YouTube suggest is, and this doesn't just apply to music, but when you go on, when you're all set up, you got the camera running, and you're doing your music or you're doing your thing, to actually record multiple things, multiple events at one time. You may be going live, but then to record, if you're doing a 10 or 15 minute concert, well, do do actually take an afternoon and do 3 or 4 of them, and then just
Okay.
broadcast them. Put them up
Right.
in at different times. Just kind of schedule them. So that's another thought for different artists to do that kind of a thing.
You mean just like do them impromptu? Is that what they're talking to? Like not announce them, just post them? Is that
Just well, either way, they can be let people know that they're coming, or I would say probably let's say you do it every Friday night, or you're doing every Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoon, yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe you could have you could record 2 or 3 of them ahead of time. I mean,
Right.
and just kind of change your shirt for each one or whatever,
There you go.
just
Yeah.
do something different, and then you could actually, on some Friday that you can't actually do it live, you could actually play the recorded one.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So anyway, but different things like that make it easy for us.
Right.
Because if you're like if you're like us, you just get so busy and you commit to something, and then something else comes along and say, oh, I just can't really do that today, or whatever.
Right.
Any thoughts on that?
I think that's a good idea. To try and do that type of stuff. So I'm going to think about that and maybe implement that later. To try and do that. So,
I was just going to say, Keith, it's very commendable to you, because we've talked to several artists who getting over the technology hump is a little bit like daunting. They've never used technology before to get online, and there's that fear and uncertainty. But you've done a great job, and like you said, you're still learning. You're looking at what other people are doing. You're getting more examples and ideas from them. And so that I just wanted to say, that's commendable to you, because not everybody has been able to embrace technology like you've been doing. So keep at it, keep improving every time you get on there, because I think it's great what you're doing.
Well, thanks.
Yeah,
I'm trying. Well, and the other thing about like actual scheduling a concert for 2:00 on Friday afternoons, this is like, okay, I'm preparing for this like if I was going out to church or somewhere.
Yeah.
So it gives you motivation to practice. It gives you motivation to,
that's right,
write a new song. Say, hey, this is a song that I just wrote, this week. What do you guys think? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it gives me motivation to practice, and usually I try to keep them around 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But I think this week's is going to be a little bit longer. I have a little bit more planned.
I like that, Keith, because you if you commit to something like that and it's on the schedule and you let people know and they're expecting it, that changes the whole motivation, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah, it does. It changes the motivation. And I think as people get used to the time that you're doing it,
yes,
it's, okay, we know he's going to do this every Friday at 2:00 or whatever, so at 2:00 Eastern time. So I don't know what that might be in other people's time zones where we're listening, but 2:00 Eastern time, and that'd be the same time zone as New York City and Washington D.C. For those of you who may be listening around the world,
and Florida, all the way down all the way down. I like that, Keith, because a lot of people, and myself included, I've been in situations where I say, well, I'll do it if I feel like it.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll do it if the mood strikes. Well, then you're up and down all the time, and you're just sometimes you do it, sometimes you don't.
Right.
A good example for me is the Just Got Music Hour, the podcast that I do every week. People are expecting that, and I'll tell you what, there isn't much. There's very little that will prevent me from getting that show done, because the thought of it not being out there, just unthinkable to me. It's got to be out there. I've committed to that.
Yeah.
So so again, Keith, that's to your credit that you're doing that. I think it's great. It's really great. I have other things that I say, well, like Nate and I we've talked about, well, any artist and us as NoteSpire, we should be posting regularly, getting content out there on a regular basis. But do we do it?
The other thing is, too, is if you do the set time, said, okay, I'm going to do this Friday at 2:00. It's like, okay, you treat that as if it's your job.
That's right.
I had to be at work when I was teaching, I had to be at work at 8:00.
Yep.
When I taught elementary, and when I taught secondary, I had to be at work at 7:15, I think. All right, so in the morning. So like if I set this at 2:00, okay, my job starts at 2:00.
Yeah.
Although this is, I mean, in a way it's like a job when you're doing this, but in a way it's not. You know, the job part comes getting everything set up, you know, but
Yeah.
the actual doing the
Yeah.
concerts is easy.
Yeah. Right.
And I think
Right.
that's great that you make that, that you take that so seriously. Like you said, you practice, you rehearse, you have a set list. Because the temptation is when you go live on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, is to just, just impromptu, hit record and just do whatever,
Right.
and
Yeah.
you might be able to pull that off. But I think the way that you're doing it, like you're looking at it as if this is a live performance and that you're
Right.
showing up for people. Like, that's great. That just adds a
Yeah.
sense of professionalism to it. And
Right.
yeah, I think that's a great attitude and a great perspective to have for any artist.
Right. Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I even got some ideas from watching Paul's video last night, the one that you do on 8 o'clock at Fridays.
Oh,
Paul,
yeah.
I actually saw that, got a chance to watch that last night. And I like the idea of what you had at the beginning. Paul Gibbs will be beginning in a couple of minutes.
Yep.
And I thought that's a great thing. I don't think I have the technology to do stuff like that now, but eventually I want to get to something like that.
Mhm.
Maybe start at 1:55. Keith will begin recording or whatever, 2 o'clock or whatever. So
It's one small step at a time, Keith. And again, we can talk later. I can tell you how I'm doing that, and I've got a lot to learn. Now, if you notice, the beginning was great, but at the end, I still had to reach over and stop But now
there's a way to get around that. Yeah.
But this week, I'm going to try to do it at the end too. Or a screen will come up, and once I'm done, I say goodbye. A screen, I reach over, hit a key, and a screen will come up and will say, "Thank you for joining us. Hope you've been blessed. See you next time." So we'll see if it happens.
Okay, well, that's a great idea, because right now I have to go turn my camera off. So I go get my camera, my hand gets in front of the phone,
Yep.
flip it around and turn it off since I record them backwards.
But again, Keith, you know what? And this is for all of you watching, listening, and Kate, for you too, that just want to start this or just starting out. We've got to start somewhere.
Yes.
And you know what, Keith? If your hand is up in front, we've all done it. If your hand goes up in front of the phone to stop the phone, so what? It doesn't mean that that's going to happen every single time. The important thing is that you started it and you did it, and you're getting your music out there. So I want that to be an encouragement to any of you that are watching and listening to this, to, don't let these little things, if I can't do it this way, I'm not going to do it. Well, no.
Yeah, you have to start somewhere. And
got to.
Again, like what Paul Secord, I mentioned him earlier. What he said, get your music out there with the best technology you can afford.
I love it.
And
love it.
Right now, all I can afford is the phone. I don't have any fancy equipment. So that's why I'm doing it that way. But people seem to like them, so I'm going to keep doing them.
That's right. Keep doing it.
Yeah. I think that's great. I think that's great. We've been trying to, through these videos, talking to all the artists and say, hey, how are you doing this? We've been trying to encourage artists that haven't taken this step yet to say, yes, you can do this. You can just use your, you have an iPhone or whatever with a camera, set that up on a tripod or on a shelf or something, hit record. You can go online. It might not be the same level of quality or professionalism as what other people are doing out there, but just get started where you are with what you have. And
and if you come out and your music's good and the audio's good and they can hear it, the video's a little messed up, that's okay. I think people are going to stay on if they can hear it and understand it, even if the video quality is not great.
Right.
So.
Right. Yep. And we've both listened to you, Keith. Your sound is, it's there. It's okay. Yeah. And I think, but as we wrap up here, I think I want to touch on a discouragement thing a little bit, because that seems to be even more so right now. And Nate, you and I were talking about this just last night. Yeah. And about getting discouraged and being careful. And I'm going to add this to it: be careful about watching the number of views and things like that. Don't get hung up on the numbers. They are a good metric, and those numbers should be going up if we're doing it right. But if we depend on that, and that is our sole focus, that is wrong. Nate, can you, what we were talking last, I forgot some of the stuff we were talking.
Well, it's, you know, like you said, Keith, you're looking at what other people were doing and to get ideas and to find out what's possible. And I think that's good. But the other side of that coin is that it's easy for some of us artists to look at the responses that other people are getting, like, well, this person had 100 views and, you know, how many shares they've gotten and all the comments, and
Right.
only 10 people watched my video. And what am I, you know, why should I
Yeah,
even
I'm a little
bother?
guilty of that. It's like,
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to fall down
Yeah.
that trap. But you know,
Mhm.
Paul and I talked last night about, like, what's our motivation?
Yeah.
If our
Right.
motivation is how many views and likes and comments we get, then it's a slippery slope, and we're going to get frustrated, you know, disappointed,
Right.
discouraged, and we're going to give up. I got to a point where I realized, you know, like Paul said, I think last night, we have it flipped. We need to do it from the motivation of, I want to glorify God or
Right.
praise him or give back to him with the talent that he's blessed me with. And then if
Yeah.
people come on board and say, hey, I like this, then that's great. But if we do it the other way around and we say, I want to see how many people say this is great, it's a
Yeah.
never ending battle, and you're going to lose every time, because there's
Right.
always somebody out there who's better, has
That's
better
true.
technology,
Right.
whatever. So yeah, don't, like
Yeah.
Paul said, don't do it for that focus. Don't focus on those things. Yeah, those metrics
Right.
are good. Maybe a good measure if you're improving or reaching more people, but it's really important to remember, we say this all the time, the why. Why are you doing this? Are you
Right.
doing this for, you know, fame, notoriety, you know, popularity, or are you doing this to give praise and glory and honor to God?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched a little bit of Sarah's interview last night too. Actually, I think I watched the whole thing when you guys interviewed her.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, she seems like she's in it for the right reasons, from what I could tell, that to give God glory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, that sort of reminded me, okay, you know, when I'm watching, okay, that's the main purpose of this, is to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
with the technology today, you know, we have an opportunity to do that, because if we post our music, it can be heard around the world now.
Yeah.
Right. That's
But
right.
the only language I speak is English, so it's only going to English people,
Okay.
English-speaking people for me.
Yeah. It's okay. There's enough other people out there that speak other languages. That's fine.
That's true.
That's their gift. That's their calling. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. I just had now here's a testimony to what we were just talking about. I saw on Facebook this morning, and I don't remember who it was, and I probably wouldn't say it anyway, but somebody posted on there, and it's a Christian artist, posted on there that it was a guy. He said, well, I guess I'm paraphrasing here.
Right.
That he was that I guess nobody wants to hear what I do, or nobody wants to watch what I'm doing. So I guess I won't do that again, or something like that was the idea.
Wow.
Right.
And he had some people, and I've seen this guy's stuff on there out there on Facebook before, and he said, and people, he had 4 or 5, maybe 6 people at that point, that was this morning, that responded and said, oh, no, keep going. We're watching. We like you. And Nate, it reminded me of what we said last night. And so I chimed in and I said, do it for the Lord. And
yeah,
because I just, wow, I gotta, this is a great time for me to extend what we were talking about, Nate. So
yeah.
Well, and also it takes time to build up people coming to your videos anyway. So if you're more consistent with it, eventually more people are going to be watching.
That's right. Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, like some of mine, I know maybe 7, 8, 9, 10 people watch it, time live. But then other people watch it later. It's good to post it and then, repost it.
Well, the other thing to remember is that there are so many people now doing this. They're going live. There's been times, Keith, when I've been watching you and I get notifications that 2 other people are going live at the same time. And then you have to pick and choose, unless you watch one on your phone and another on a laptop and another on a tablet, like at the same, it's just impossible to see everybody. So if you are doing a live thing on Facebook, like you said, Keith, save it so that people can go back and watch it later, because they just might not be able to watch it when, that time, at that moment.
Well, like the Paul's thing, they did Friday night. I didn't have a chance to watch it Friday night, but if you would have had it on there, I would never have seen it. So it's
well, thank you,
important to
Keith.
keep it on
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So,
But that's a good encouragement to people. Yeah, it's kind of like
right. Yeah.
it's kind of like TV. You know, the DVR thing. Just you can't watch it right now. We'll record it and watch it later.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have that technology either to do that.
Well, you're saving to Facebook lives, all right? We can.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Yeah. So we
Save
can.
them. And then, well, sometimes I'll delete the live version because sometimes I'll go in on my computer and edit out all like the beginning and end stuff that we're setting up and everything.
That's a good
And
idea too,
I'll
right?
repost that.
Yeah.
But keep the live one up until I get that reposted. So.
That's a good idea.
Good idea.
Good idea. Well, you know what I'm hearing in all of this, Keith, as we're talking to you, what I want to vocalize it here is that you are an encouragement to other artists that maybe doing the same thing, maybe a little bit behind you on the road, maybe haven't started yet, but you're a great example, great encouragement to those who want to, or maybe feeling a little bit of fear, a little bit of anxiety right now. You know, so that's what we hope that we will be able to.
I would encourage all artists to do something like that. You know, even if it's just one song. You know, practice one song till you get it down, and then post that live. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to start out with a 3-hour concert right away.
Right. Right. We were just saying the other day how music has changed. You know, bands and artists don't wait a whole year and then release a whole CD anymore. They, you know, release maybe one song. They release songs periodically, one song at a time or whatever. Yeah.
Well, I hope albums don't go completely away.
Me too. Yeah, me too. I think as long as we're doing live concerts at churches and wherever, then I don't think they will. They might take a different form, whether it's USB or, you know, whatever. But
right. Yeah, that's true.
But I think people are gonna still. I hope so anyway. Yeah.
Right.
So it looks like we have about 5 minutes left here. Keith, can you talk a little bit about what we can expect from you in the next coming weeks and months? Like, do you have kind of an idea of where you're going with your music?
I know where I'd like to go.
Sure. Yeah.
The idea of getting there. Well, for right now, since churches aren't open and everything, I've been concentrating most of my stuff on like the Facebook Live type concerts and promoting my music through social media, you know, at the time, you know, and so I'm doing that, but eventually I would like to get back into contacting churches about getting bookings, things like that. I'm hoping here that over the summer I can start to get more gigs and get out there and start playing. Way in the future. I talked to you guys about this before, but I do want to record a Christmas album, and I don't know when I'm going to get to that, so that might be a year or two away. Yeah. But I also want to record an Easter album as well. So I want to get those 2 albums recorded, and I have other ideas too. I might want to come out with another all instrumental album here in the future as well. So and you know, get another album like the I Will Arise album recorded like I did with you guys earlier or last summer. Yes. And so things like that. And but you know, the whole idea behind it is not to do it for me. You know, it's to get the gospel of Jesus out there. And you know, and I don't know how to say this, but I don't take my music real seriously, but I take the message seriously. And now what I mean by not taking it seriously, you know, if I mess up and stuff like that, so I don't get mad anymore. You know, or you know, if I mess up, it's like, okay, let's just start over. It's like, you know, even if it's even if it's out live or whatever. I've done that a couple times on the Facebook Live things. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, let's just start this over, whatever. So
nothing wrong with that, Keith.
What's that?
Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Yeah. So that's where I'd like to go with as far as the music, but the main thing is getting the gospel message out. Yeah. And I would also like to, I mean, I guess you got to talk about money at some point sometimes, but I'd also like to make enough money at this where I don't have to get a part-time job after retiring from teaching. Yeah. And so far I've been pretty good with it financially, but there may become a time where I have to get a part-time job to help supplement my income.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you mentioned people like Shania Twain and other artists out there, like established artists that are doing the same thing, putting stuff online for free. they're doing that now because their channels have all been, cut off with the isolation thing. But once that opens up again, if they do continue to do these live concerts, that they're probably going to be for profit. So,
Yeah.
What you're doing now for free, eventually you have the capability of setting that up, doing an online concert where people have to pay in order to view it.
Right.
So you can still do what you're doing and make some income from it in the future. Just now it's nice that people are offering it for free because that's really the only way they're going to see the artist. So
that's true.
yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
money in Christian music always has been an issue, I guess, because but it's like you still need a certain amount to at least cover your expenses for your music money.
Yeah,
absolutely, and most people understand that, and I can see that coming down the road too, where it's going to be a part of the new normal, where online concerts, online events are going to start to be monetized.
Right.
And,
well, I know one just over the weekend down in Nashville with a bunch of Southern gospel artists. They sold tickets online for that one.
Yes.
So I don't know how much the tickets were. I didn't pay for it to watch it, but
Mhm.
but I know some people are already doing stuff like that. So
Right. Well, Keith, thank you very much. As we wrap up here, we thank Keith Andrew Grimm for being with us on this edition of the, what do we call it again?
Quarantine interviews.
Quarantine interviews, yes.
Yeah.
Artists in isolation. And you can find Keith Andrew Grimm at online, many places. Just search for him online. Keith Andrew Grimm, Grim, and you will find his music. Keith, any real quick final thoughts? We got a minute left.
I don't know. I just encourage artists to get out there and record your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Get it online.
Amen.
Whether you're a top-notch, A-class, world-class performer, or you're somebody just starting out, get your stuff on there. You
got to start. Got to get it out there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, friends, thank you for being with us on this edition.
Keith.
Yeah, thank you, Keith. And
You're
friends,
welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, well, if you're watching this, we wish you the best, and God bless everyone. Take care of yourselves.
And take care of each other.
All right. We'll see you all next time. Take care, Keith. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Thanks. See you later.
Yeah.